Good afternoon. My name is Theresia Ellison, and I am with a place of refuge, Safe Passage into Eternity. We're located in Georgia, and today I would like to talk with you briefly about the situation with Trayvon Martin, as well as laws that we have right here in Georgia that is similar to the Stand Your Ground laws, as well as a law called the SB 440. But I next would like to send my condolences from my house to the Martin's family's home, and just let you know that I'm so sorry as to what has happened to Trayvon. And you all are in our prayers. His big brother, I think about him constantly. I think about what you all are feeling, and as a single mom myself, I can only imagine what you must be going through, but know that you are in our prayers. I like to talk about what happened with Trayvon because it's opened up a gate for us all to dialogue in our nation about laws that are put in place for a certain group of people, or sometimes even just laws that are put in place that does not justify the cause and the effect. This situation with the Stand Your Ground law is almost as the Cowboys did back in the golden days, where people can take laws in their own hand and just go around and shoot people just because they suspect them or that they're biased in some form. We have to find better ways to make better decisions in how our laws are put in place. We have to discuss these things with our legislators, our state senators, congressmen, our President of the United States of America as he addressed the nation. He even admitted that before he became a senator, how doors were locked as he crossed the street, or even if he went into a store, how he was followed. These biases have something to do with color. And as much as we hate to talk about race, racism exists in our nation, and it is very much alive. But as our nation is watching how the response will be to the situation with Trayvon, other nations are watching us as well. And therefore, we as leaders must come together no matter what race we are and make a difference. I'd like to share with you a law we have in Georgia called the SB 440 bill, which is a law that was created in 1994. This law states that any child between the ages of 13 and 17 will be prosecuted as an adult if the child is accused of committing one of the offenses called the 7 deadly sins. The 7 deadly sins are murder, rape, armed robbery with a firearm, aggravated child molestation, aggravated sodomy, aggravated sexual battery, and voluntary manslaughter. Well, the aggravated child molestation has since been changed to a misdemeanor, but nevertheless, the other 6 are still well alive in Georgia. And if a child is convicted on one of these 7 deadly sins, they will be imposed with a mandatory minimum of 10 years without parole, the possibility of parole in Georgia. This law needs to be revisited, as well as our own Stand Your Ground law, because it's affecting over 75% of African American boys, young people. And we need to find out why is this. Yes, we know that there are a lot of situations where there's armed robbery, and I don't condone any child doing something wrong and not having to suffer some consequences. But this law has, and I believe, been put in effect for a certain group of people, and we need to revisit it, because we've talked about the man factor, what happened to Trayvon, but I believe there's a God factor as well. I believe that God has opened up a gate for us to make some changes and make a difference. So in Georgia, this is one of the laws that I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about the Stand Your Ground law because of the situation as to how it happened with Trayvon. Mr. Zimmerman was told not to proceed to follow Trayvon, but he took the law into his own hands. And now a young man is murdered and a family is without their son. There's a problem there. And then he was not found guilty of anything. Something is wrong with our system. I was looking at the scales of justice the other day, and the scales of justice it sits even. The symbolic part of the scales are even. But when you look at the spiritual side of what's happening in our justice system, there's nothing even a justice about what's happening in our courtrooms, with our judges, with our defense lawyers, with our prosecutors. I have sat in many courtrooms and watched the defense lawyers that are supposed to work for the defendant, but nevertheless has already made a deal with the prosecutor to get young people to take a sweet deal. 10 do 20. 20 do 10. 50 do 30. When other races of children have committed some of the same crimes as African Americans, and they may serve 5 years. There's no justice with those scales. They're so unbalanced, and we have to do something about it. And so therefore, I would like for us all as people, Christians, black people, white people, Gentiles, Jews, Hispanics, Asians, we need to come together as people, and we need to make an investment into our young people's lives and get some of these laws changed, because if we don't, then we can talk to our pastors and ask them to go ahead and preach our eulogies, and we might as well exit out, because these young people are our future, our next generation, no matter what race of people they are. I have a heart for all young people, but I'm starting in my African American community, because 8 out of 10 African American men get up and they leave the African American woman with their children, and they're left to figure it out themselves. Women can try to raise an African American male child, but we can never really show them how to be a man. We need men to step up and step in place to help us. Also, lastly, and this will be a series of something that a place of refuge will be talking about, but I'd like to leave you with some famous words from Frederick Douglass. And what he says is, we ask nothing at the hands of the American people but simple justice and equal chance to live. Injustice and oppression have been tied with us during a period of more than 200 years. Under the whole heavens, you will find no parallel to the wrongs we have endured. We have worked without wages, lived without hope, wept without sympathy, and bled without mercy. Now, in the name of common humanity, we simply ask the right to bear the responsibility of our own existence. We ask for the right for our young people to bear the responsibility of their own existence, not to be shot down as though they are dogs or they're slaves in the 1800s, because that's what was happening in slavery. Black men would be hunted down like dogs and shot down. And I'm not saying that Mr. Zimmerman directly did that, but I believe there was some biases in his mind that could have caused him to make a terrible, terrible choice that he made on that night with Trayvon, that cost Trayvon his life. And so therefore, I would ask of every United States citizen, let's band together and let's make a difference. And lastly, you can reach us at P.O. Box 2771, Lilburn, Georgia, Lilburn, Georgia, 30048. Or you can reach me at 770-356-6216. And may God bless each one of you, and may God keep you, and may His light shine upon you. And thank you for your time.